And welcome to the 5-Star Dynasty Podcast Live, episode 204, Impression or Depression, the Landing Spot Matters, AFC edition. Our first two-parter, I am here. I am Tomcat, and this is Tim. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, but sorry to break it to you for the third week in a row. We messed up because I'm pretty sure we're doing the NFC.
I said NFC, totally.
It's funny because
what you're talking about?
For some reason I didn't notice the title.
Yeah.
Well, we're rocking. We're ready to go. Let's run through these guys. Get these free agents out of the way so we can start talking more draft again, because that's my favorite part.
NFC, baby. God, so many episodes without screwing anything up, and there's like 3 weeks in a row I cannot do anything. Oh, goodness.
We're good.
Oh, well, I'm not. It's not, It's nothing I'm too worried about as far as, like, I'm going to recover, but it says NFC above. I don't know if you noticed.
What'd you do today? I went to the gym. I really needed to.
I misunderstood a text and went to go pick up my car because I got a flat tire and it wasn't ready yet. So I showed up and it wasn't ready yet. But I got a flat tire and then I'm just getting all four tires.
My wife got in a car accident the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
The car's fine, thank God. It's damaged, got to get fixed.
Yeah.
But it's not totaled or anything, so that's good.
Well, I was on my way to a trip, and I didn't notice until I literally got on the highway that one of my tires was wicked low. And it's the one stretch of the highway that there's a good chunk between the two exits, so I had to drive a good amount on a tire that was just decreasing. And luckily, I made it to the gas station. Nothing busted off, and I got to the gas station to put air in it, and I noticed that it was just split. It's the first time I've ever had that happen with a tire. I've been driving for a while, too, but it's the first time, and it is what it is. Had to get it towed, had to get it fixed, and it's unnecessary, but it's part of life, and it could have been much worse. I could have had my tire fly off. I could have had all four tires explode. Who knows? So, I'm grateful. It is what it is. What?
I'm still sending it out.
Oh, absolutely. Let me pull this up. We're going to go. Oh, and always hit us up, guys. We have some orphans, Dynasty orphans. If you want to get those ones, that'd be cool. I just accidentally pulled up my own stream. I was trying to pull up the NFL signings. Here we are. As I said, the NFC.
Yes, we're doing the NFC today. Thank God. I really just want to get this free agency period over. We have a draft starting in 3 days. Vet draft only. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, for the fans at home, we're doing a startup where we're restarting the league where we just had a lot of people. Basically, what we were talking about before the podcast was a little bit of some people will join money leagues and they will swing for the fences. They will draft high risk. They will trade high risk. They will just try to build these super teams. And then when it doesn't work out, they bail. They leave everybody high and dry. And then the team has no draft capital. So we believe, as Piff brought it up, believes that you should have to, as soon as you, and this goes to everybody at home, make sure you install this in your league. Now's the time. If you want to vote on stuff before the season starts, vote on this. Trust us. You do not want a league where it's okay to just trade all your draft picks away without paying the years. Oh,
right,
sorry.
And it deters.
You explain it further. Sorry about that.
It deters people from trading future picks because most of them don't want to pay the year in advance. So, a lot of leagues I like to have, if it's a cheap enough league, where you pay the 2 years up front, and then you don't have to worry about that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can't take your Yeah, I sent it to a couple people in their DMs, and they popped in. So that's pretty sweet. Drop a like, people. Drop a like. Love you. Thanks for showing up.
What's up, guys?
All right, so you want to run these free agents? We're going to start with the Cowboys.
Well, do you want to start? We'll go
No,
every
you
other.
can start today. You can start.
No.
It's your rival. You love to talk about it.
Well, the Giants are next, so you can go start at the Cowboys.
Okay, all right.
The only reason is because I scrolled down and noticed I went to count out.
They did a lot of defensive moves, a lot of older guys, but they did bring in an offensive lineman, which is going to be good for them because they did lose Zach Martin, so they brought in a guard.
Mm-hmm.
They signed Paris Campbell to a 1-year deal. I'm pretty sure it's probably like bottom value for a vet. And they also brought in Miles Sanders, which we don't have any numbers on. And the big signing they have is Javonte
Hold on,
Williams.
I just thought of that. It's the land of misfit toys.
It is. I was telling you that. Like they got Dante Fowler.
Oh no, I'm just saying we haven't called it that though.
Yeah.
You described it perfectly.
Diggy
We have to call
Zua,
it that
Kenneth
now.
Murray. It's nuts. But I mean, these are all moves.
I
help
want
their
that,
team,
Matt.
You know,
I'm looking at the
They're all
chat right
moves.
now. I want that, Matt. But I don't think he's gonna be there for them to pick. I think there's a chance that one of the other teams, like the Raiders, are gonna really take him super, super early, like earlier than maybe even should go.
I wouldn't be surprised if Chicago trades up to get him with Vegas.
It's possible. If you ask me what spot I want him to go, it would be the Cowboys.
I really think the Bears would be it, man. Bears would be its destiny. I don't know, but it's the best. It's definitely one of the best landing spots. But I think the Bears is really the best landing spot for him. They just revamped that whole offensive line. He'd be perfect for Caleb Williams.
I do agree
Bears
with his
is really
statement.
the ideal spot.
He said Chicago needs more help than running back.
They did a lot of stuff in free agency that cleared them up to be able to draft him high.
True, but a lot of it was like line and stuff.
Right, and that's important. That's what they needed to fix.
But
So
why
you
would
put him behind
there's
that
some,
line. And,
there's some real defensive talent there, though.
And Johnson gets his gives, because he already doesn't like Swift. He already sent him out somewhere. They need help in the front office. I like that. But that's how I feel about it. That'd be awesome if he went there. But yeah, the
It's so
Cowboys filled a lot of empty holes, and maybe I think that took them out of the Genty sweepstakes. These signings, I really do.
I don't. I think they grabbed him. All those guys that are easy, cheap money, they can cut all of them if they wanted to. If they get Genty or Genty or whatever how you pronounce his name. Because they're paying all those guys so little that I don't think a lot of those guys have a lot of guaranteed money, right? So a lot of those guys, they can just sign them, and then if they do draft somebody they like, even if it's Hampton, they can get rid of them after.
I understand what
think
you're saying,
more-
Matt, but they're bodies. So it's just bodies to not have to take a running back early. That's what I think. They'll
Yeah,
take a running back, but not until like 3rd, 4th round.
what about if they took Hampton?
I don't think Hampton's out of the first. I think he's gone in the 1st round. I think he goes to like Denver.
Well,
Maybe not,
Yeah,
because Javonte was a Tar Heel too. So
they traded for Kenneth Murray,
I know I like that. I like that deal for them.
and they traded for Elam. Everybody else they signed, re-signed Turpin to a 3-year deal, $18 million.
Yeah, I think that's a sign that he might be more involved in the passing game this year.
Maybe. I don't know, man. Do you have anything else to say about the
I think-
Cowboys?
No. I'm good. You can move on to your team. Which I think they did a pretty good job.
Say my team loosely. I mean, to be fair,
it's your team, not loosely. That's your team.
It is, but
roll with it.
I have the advantage that you guys don't have, though. The Giants have only been good 2 years since I've known them, and they were Super Bowls. I guess it was 1 year they were decent and they went to the playoffs, but they've been so bad. I picked the Giants. Okay, here's the story about me. I hated football most of my life for whatever reason, and I never gave it a chance, and I totally regret it now. And then a buddy of mine needed somebody for a fantasy football league, and I joined on 2 days' notice, and I fell in love with it, and I've been obsessed ever since. And that was a long time ago by now, but it was late. It was in my 20s that I got into football. I picked the Giants because I'm in New York, and I picked the team. But the funniest part is I've only been to one football game, and it was a Bills game. So I really should be a Bills fan. But because I became a fan later in life, I feel nothing when they lose. So I'm so used to it. I just don't. I'm not like the Giants fans that think every year's their year. They get all sad about it. I'm just like, oh, I hope the Giants win. I live in New York. But then also if the Bills won, I would be happy for them too. And I really love fantasy above all.
Yeah, when I was like a young kid, I didn't even.
Who do you like, Matt?
Football. He was a Pats fan.
Oh yeah. Well, luckily I got to watch them beat the Patriots twice.
I'm not. I knew that was coming. I'll tell you that right now because you say it all the time.
He set it up.
Under my skin. I know, but I knew it was coming because you say it all the time under my skin.
So close to undefeated, guys. Cheers.
I think Matt. I like Scatterboo, but I don't think he's gonna go that high.
I don't think he will, but I think he could. I think he could go in the early mid third. Will he? I don't know. But could he? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
He got a lot of hype.
I don't know if teams like him that much.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, now let's talk about your squad.
So the Giants, signing Tommy DeVito means they might be tanking. Now, if they don't get, it also could mean that they're trying to go for Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, and that they just want them to have they want the guy to know, hey, your backup behind you isn't anything. You have nothing to worry about. Don't worry about anything ever in your life. You are our starter. Or it means, hey, we really don't care. And if we throw Tommy DeVito out there, it's an actual way to tank while looking like we're trying to win. So they might be taking Shador. We'll see.
I think that's
think
the
it's
case.
funny that
unless they sign Russ, I think that's the case.
I think it's very funny that Aaron Rodgers went his little darkness retreat, came out of it, found out some of the teams that he thought would want him, don't want him, and now he has to decide between the Steelers and Giants. And even then, there's a report that came out that said he is in no rush, and he's totally okay just waiting around. You know what that means to me? That means I'm waiting for the draft, season. And whatever team I sign with, I want to make sure you do not draft a guy right behind me. You are not tricking me, signing me to a deal you can cut me in 1 year, and then drafting Jalen Milroe or somebody like that behind me. Yeah, I think you guys are going to get Hunter. I don't think you guys are getting Carter. I think the Browns are taking Carter.
He's really in no position to be dictating anything. They tried to let him run the show in New York, and it failed. If anybody lets him do that again, they're just asking for trouble, and they deserve what they get.
Well, I think putting him in is tanking. Does that make sense? I don't think you put Tommy DeVito in a game unless you're trying to lose that game.
I don't think Tommy DeVito makes it through the season if they sign anybody.
Oh, no. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if they play Tommy DeVito at any point, they are trying to lose that game.
Oh, obviously. He's horrible.
Because they could sign a better backup. That's what I'm trying to say. They're choosing to take Tommy DeVito. That being said, Darius Slayton is the big one. It's 3-year, $36 million. It's not big as far as fantasy, really, unless you're in a super deep league. It's not really that relevant, but it just shows that, like, hey, we don't know what the fuck the Giants are doing.
It looks like they're fixing their offensive line, and they're going to take Sanders. That's what I think.
Yeah.
It's all pointing towards them taking a quarterback. Really is.
Yeah. And I mean, they signed, let's see. They re-signed Amir Smith-Marset, who used to be a Viking. They signed a couple different guys on the line. The big one would be James Houston for a 2-year. Chauncey Golston on defense is pretty good, and this is what it is. They got a couple other really good steals. They did get Javon Holland and Paulson Adebo for cheaper than they probably should have. But other than that, it's the signings they made on defense and the signing they made on the line really make me think that they might go either they're gonna go 50-50 or they're gonna go heavy on the offense. They're gonna grab. I think there's a really good chance they grab Shedeur, and that they're gonna try to pair Shedeur with a wide receiver, like a lot of teams like to do when they grab their guy they're hoping is gonna be the franchise, and they try to pair him up with a early second round wide receiver. They're gonna have the 203. So then there's gonna be some good wide receivers there, probably.
Yep. Yeah, I like that move.
Think of the Bengals with T. Higgins. They got T. Higgins at 201. They took Joe Burrow at 101.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen. And,
we do have neighbors. That's very true. But at the same time, Giants are dumb and they like to waste picks. So you never know.
Like we were talking off air, that they could, I forget what the hell I was going to say now, but
they could trade back. Who knows? Or you know what they could do? They could grab a running back in the second round, because then at 203, there's going to be some pretty good running backs there.
True. I like Tracy.
Well, no, you don't, Matt, but that's why you grab 2 wide receivers that are rookie, because if they use them right now while they're rookies. But yeah, it all depends. It also depends on if they grab a decent veteran or not. I don't even know. I'm done with with them if you want to hit the Eagles.
All right, the Eagles. They traded Kenny Pickett for Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a 5th round pick, number 164.
I'm giving a thumbs up to Matt Smith. Sorry, he said use Theo Johnson. I do like Theo Johnson.
Me too. I got a lot of him. Saquon signed a 2-year extension worth $41 million in new money, with $36 million guaranteed and $15 million in incentives.
Mm-hmm.
They signed A.J. Dillon to a 1-year deal.
Just a nice backup. Nice relief back, nice backup.
They signed a couple tight ends.
Good blocking ones, too.
And Kylan Granson.
Which is also
Harrison
good for
Bryant.
everything you're saying is good for Saquon.
Yep. They agreed to a 1-year extension for Lane Johnson.
Yep. Which extends him through 2027. You got to say that part, too. It's actually just extending him longer.
They got they traded for Kenyon Green.
Yep, they got rid of the safety that fights everybody.
Yeah, and they got him and a 5th round pick for C.J. Gardner-Johnson and a 6th round pick, and a bunch of defensive guys. Very good defensive guys, but I'm not talking about them.
Oh, Zach Baum was good though.
Yeah, huge signing.
We
and
gotta
they
say
signed
that was
Josh Uche, ex-Patriot.
You're gonna mention that. We're gonna leave on Zach Bond, and you're like, I don't want to talk about these other two. The other two are
you mentioned Zach Bond, so I didn't have
the other two are Josh.
That's the one I was actually
and
talking about.
Hold on, and Aziza Alojuari. And instead of mentioning both of them, he goes, "We don't need to talk about them." So then I go, "Okay, that makes sense. Let me mention the really big contract." And then instead of ending on that, he goes back to the former Patriot. Bro, we could have mentioned the former Giant too. What are you doing? No, they're all good signings. A lot of good depth. Dory Jackson.
But they did gut their defense, so they needed to rebuild it cheaply, I guess.
Well, I'll start off. I know it's lower on the actual lists we're looking at, but I'm going to start off with they acquired Deebo Samuel for exchanging a 5th-round pick. Essentially, they swapped fifths so that they would pay. I believe they're paying most of Deebo's money.
Yeah,
or all of it.
What did you say? 17 million earlier.
Yeah, 17 guaranteed, and it's like up to 20 or something like that, up to 21. I forgot what the exact number is, but yeah, they definitely extended him pretty nice. They traded for Laramie Tunsil. I mean, they reset. Yeah. This part sucks for us Dynasty guys. They re-signed Zach Ertz to a 1-year deal. 625 worth up to $9 million, and he is going to play over the Senate. And
what do you think about John Bates getting signed to a 3-year deal?
I think it's pretty good, but I do think he's mostly a blocker.
That's a big deal for a blocker.
Nah. I think
He's
Josh
getting paid
Oliver
more than Zach Ertz is getting paid.
Wasn't that a Josh Oliver contract, roughly, give or take?
Yeah, a few million, I guess. I think
he might be getting more because the cap.
He got 19. Up. He got 19. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, I get what you're saying, though. I get what you're saying. I mean, they signed a couple of their linemen. Let me see. They did get Kinlaw, though.
They went crazy. They signed a lot of
Bobby
players.
Wagner to a 1-year again. Yeah, they did well. We'll move on. You can hit the Bears.
The Bears. Travis Homer re-signed. That's a nothing player. Nothing
1 second.
deal.
Matt said that the defense is horrible for the Washington Commanders, and I agree it's still bad, but that's what we like because that means that the offense is really going to have to step up and have shootouts, and Jaden Daniels is going to have to actually play his heart out like he did last year, like everybody said he's not going to again, and I think he will because he's going to have to because the defense is bad. So I just had to point this out that he said this point because I agree with him, but I think it's good for us in fantasy as far as Jaden and Terry and all the pieces that we want.
Absolutely.
So, sorry, just wanted to hit that before him.
So, Travis Homer re-signed. 1-year deal. They signed Devin Duvernay to a 1-year contract.
Yep.
Olamide Zaccheaus to a 1-year deal. Durham Smythe to a 1-year deal. But the real work was done on the line, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
They traded for Joe Tooney. They traded for Jonah Jackson. And they signed a center. For 3-year deal, $42 million with 28 guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the guy from Atlanta. And that was a big loss for Atlanta. I hope it doesn't impact Bijan too much.
Yeah. Gotta agree. And speaking of Atlanta, they have the former Falcon Grady Jarrett for 3-year. Ogbong Bagima.
Good luck with that one, bro.
Agbong Bamiga. There we go.
And Dio Odeingbo.
Yeah. So they had some good signings. Nothing too crazy except for the line. Those 3 line pieces, trading for 2 pieces and signing another. Great. That's great for them. And it really does point to them getting a running back, like you said.
I mean, and if they don't move up and they don't, say Vegas takes them, Genty, then they'll probably take another lineman.
Let's also not forget in the second round, they're going to be like 210, and they're still going to be early enough where we talked about how many running backs are going to be available this year, and there's a good chance that even if they take one in the second, they're still in the early second. So
I think they have 2 picks in the second.
We'll pull that up in a second.
Either 2 picks in the second or 2 picks in the third. So, I mean, they got a lot of capital, too, to move around if they want to.
All right. Check this out.
But, like, I really think if, a lot of these signings pan out, they could be a problem in the NFC.
All right. 1 second. One of the Bears. No. Yes. Oh, I heard about this pick. This is a pick that the Bears say they have, but another team said they have. Is that the one? Did you hear about that?
No.
Maybe it's a totally different pick, but there's some pick. You should look it up on YouTube. There's like a pick that there's something happened where like they're claiming they got a pick from another trade, but another team's trade saying they got it from a trade. And like they're trying to figure out who actually got it, but that might be even another pick. But yeah, they have 2 seconds.
It's funny. So yeah, so
they have pick 39 and pick 41. So there's a chance they do take a second round running back.
Definitely a chance.
Either way. Oh, and that
And they could probably use some help on the edge too.
No, they signed Deo Yigbo to a 3-year deal. Unless you're talking about you can mean the other side, but they did sign one guy on the edge. And all right, we'll move to the Lions. I don't care that Kyle Allen. No offense, dude. I'm glad you got paid. I'm glad you're making a living. I'm glad you're doing whatever you're doing. But as far as fantasy goes, I do not care that Kyle Allen is Jared Goff's backup. The big one, honestly, there really isn't a lot of big ones. The big one besides, I guess, Derek Barnes on defense is big for them, but it's just, I guess they got another year of Tim Patrick. He might be your late scraping at the bottom of the barrel for a dynasty value, and like you want to grab somebody because you might have to use them for 1 to 4 weeks. He's your boy. Other than that, I mean, it's a lot of mediocre 1-year signings, and it's up to you if you have anything else. DJ Reed's.
Yeah, I mean, they really bulked up the defense a little bit. So,
well, I was about to say, like, it's not good for us as far as we're a fantasy show. If this was a total NFL show, we'd be going off about Rocky Sin and DJ Reed. We'd be like, oh yeah, these are great signings, isn't that? We try our hardest. I'm way more guilty of this than Piv is. We try our hardest not to talk about the defense too much unless we really think it's going to influence the game. If we think, like when Matt Smith said that the Commanders' defense is horrible, I want to know as a fantasy player when a defense is horrible because I want
teams.
I want to take advantage of that. I want to get those guys who are going to be in shootout.
Well, if we're going to move on, we can just go to the Packers, and I could say Mecole Hardman and nothing and move on.
Aaron Banks, offensive guard, a 4-year, $77 million deal.
Don't care.
Then
they
awesome. Signed a kicker for a 3-year and a cornerback, and then we can move on. Yeah, but I didn't mention the guard. They did sign a pretty good guard.
Good for Josh Jacobs.
Yes, exactly why I mentioned it. Exactly. This is key right here. I'm going to mention a 2-piece of running backs right off the bat. The Vikings re-signed 2 years, $20 million, 13 guaranteed to Aaron Jones. We joked in the offseason about it earlier that there was a world. Remember when I said, dude, there's a world where I'm going to try to pull that clip where I said, there's a world where Aaron Jones just signs a 1 or 2 year deal with the Vikings, and he actually did.
Yep.
And the big thing is they then traded for Jordan Mason. Now, are both guys injury prone? Yes. But if you're an Aaron Jones owner and Jordan Mason, for some reason, either can get traded for cheap or gets thrown on the waivers, which probably won't happen, but I've seen worse. So be on the lookout for it. You never know. But if you could trade for him cheap and you're the Jones owner, when Jordan Mason was on the field, he was good. Yeah.
They beefed up that defense too.
Yeah. These are the defense and
Jonathan Allen and Hargrave in the middle.
Yep.
They beefed up the line, and they signed one of my all-time favorite rookie draft picks, Rondale Moore.
Yeah. They signed him, and they signed a center and a guard.
Yeah, and a tackle. So they're loaded. They're loading
Tackle
up
was good.
on offense.
The Fries one, that's a big deal, though.
All right.
Yep.
The Falcons.
Other than that, Harrison Smith returned.
Yeah, I mean that might impact the draft a little bit. I know he's old, but maybe they can wait till later instead of like I had a safety going there or a D lineman, but they
because you thought he wasn't coming back, right?
Yeah, and
because we talked about that in the
Jonathan Allen Hargrave. You're paying these guys fucking $81 million just to sit in your, for the next 2-3 years. You're not drafting a guy.
He's getting
You're not drafting a D tackle.
He's getting a 10.25 that's worth up to 14. So it's not crazy value, but it's like if he plays at it'd be a good 1-year deal.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about like what I had was a safety going there. Or
you didn't see that they also signed Theo Jackson?
Or a defensive tackle.
What?
Yeah, or a defensive tackle.
Well,
but they don't need a defensive tackle.
So both the things we thought we were going to
$81 million.
Mm-hmm.
So they could be.
Yep.
They're kind of best player available, I think.
They already have JJ and Addison, so and Hawkinson. I don't see them adding anything as far as offensive weapons.
They signed 4 cornerbacks.
Yeah. I don't know.
And all decent ones, Byron Murphy, Okuda, Isaiah Rodgers.
Yeah. Yep.
And you said that Thomas guy. I don't know, Theo Jackson said. They did good. I like what they did.
It's on 2 safeties. So it's like you said, we thought we were gonna take defensive tackle or safety, and they literally took 2 of each.
Yeah.
Well, they signed it rather. Yeah.
So they're probably going BPA at that point, except for a defensive tackle or a corner.
So, move on to the NFC South. Before we move to the South, I want to say what I read about something that the Lions allegedly want to propose. They want to propose something I 100% agree with, and I know old school NFL fans might not agree with me. I agree with the Lions. Allegedly, they want to propose that, yes, all division leaders will make the playoffs, but when it comes to seeding, if you have a team as a wild card team and they're like 11-3 or 12, whatever it is, when you're coming into the playoffs, you got a couple more games going and you start seeing the seeds going. Whoever is ahead, it should have the better seed. So you shouldn't have a team who's 9-8 and squeaked through the playoffs barely, getting to have the advantage because they were the division champion of a crappy division.
Yeah. I can see it actually changing. So
I think the only teams that are against that are teams that like to rule shitty divisions, which makes sense why Matt is a Patriots fan, because that's all the Patriots did. The Patriots ruled a shitty division for years, had basically an automatic playoff ticket every year. And
we still would have if we took Tom Brady.
I agree with the Lions. It's not going to get passed, but I agree with it.
You don't think it'll get passed? I think it'll get passed.
I hope so, because it would also make better. It would also make better for. Yeah, but that's the thing, though, Matt, is that some divisions are just way better than others. The NFC South sucks. And the fact that one of them even is privileged to go into the playoffs, they should be on their knees praying and thanking everybody. But they should not have a better seed than a team that has like 3 or 4 or 5 more wins than them. That's that's not leaving your fate to the other teams, though. If you're actually winning more games, you're winning more games. So, I don't know. I hope it passes. It is what it is. Let's move on to the NFC South. And I don't really care about a lot of this. Jamal Agnew and Hodge.
They didn't do much.
Jake Matthews is a good signing. They got a couple guys on defense. I don't even want to get into it.
Didn't he start out there?
Who was Matthews?
Yeah. It says he signed. It didn't say he re-signed.
I'm gonna go to Spotrac right now. We're gonna find out right now. Jake Matthews. So funny hearing his name though, because he has the same name as the UFC fighter I've heard for years.
Yeah, they just said he signed, but he's been with the Falcons the whole time.
Yeah, for whatever reason it said signed. Blame NFL.com because we're literally using NFL's site.
Stupid idiots.
Stupid idiots. Making us look like stupid idiots.
Yeah, but we got nothing other than defense there.
No, I'd say we skip. Go to the next one.
Some interesting Rico Dowdle for the Carolina Panthers. I mean,
solid backup for Chuba.
That could, I don't know about a backup. That could be a little cut in for Chuba.
Solid spell down every once in a while.
Yeah, like what he ended up doing for Dallas for a little while.
Yeah, he's not going to be what everybody thought he was going to be. Hey, props if you were able to sell him for anything. If you got into the hype when he was going to be the Dallas running back.
I sold him, but not for anything. I sold him for Christian Watson, like when he was a free agent. I was like, yeah, just give me this guy.
Yeah.
He gave me like an option of guys, and I was like, I don't want Rico, but this kid, if he can actually stay on the field someday, because when he's on the field, he plays pretty well. He just can never stay on the field.
Here's an interesting one. They are keeping Andy Dalton for 2 years, not 1 year, 2 years. I mean, they can cut him after one, but the fact that they took him for 2 years means like, hey, we're gonna give Bryce a chance, but at the same time, like, if he doesn't work out, we still got you, buddy.
Still got the Red Rocket waiting in the wings.
Yep. And then, how do you feel about this? Because I know we're both big fans. What's up, Sweaty Pete? I know we're both fans of Jatavion Sanders. How do you feel about Tommy Tremble getting it's $8 million guaranteed, but it's up to $16 million. He did get a decent extension.
From what I hear, from what I've heard, the signing is what you said about, like a Josh Oliver type signing.
I agree.
Like he's a good blocker. I mean, I always wanted Tommy Tremble to be something more, but he's not, I guess.
We have to remember that there's a lot of plays that have 2 tight ends and they're being used for blockers, and we don't think about it because we're just always thinking about fantasy. Like somebody gets signed to a deal like this, and we're like, "Oh my god!" But like the cap's gone up, so really this isn't a lot of the cap. And it says to. Ooh, sorry.
No, go ahead. It says up to.
I was just gonna say it's up to $16 million, so they're really only paying him $8 million. So like we don't. Yeah. They could pay him 16, but they're probably only paying him $8 million.
But I really see them taking, like in the draft, I see them going 10.
What about linemen, though? They need it bad.
It makes sense, but I don't see it. But because
I hope they trade back because I
don't
really
have
don't want
any.
them to have Tet. It'd be such a waste. They do, man. They need everything. They might as well trade back and try to get a couple firsts out of it.
There is not much to mention on the New Orleans side either.
Oh, New Orleans?
Yeah. Dante Pettis. They
I was about to
re-signed
say,
Juwan
is it
Johnson if
pretty
you're
much-
into that kind of stuff.
What about Juwan Johnson? The Truthers are going to be happy about that deal. Now, is he going to be super good? No. But is he going to be that guy you can plug in he was probably your tight end 2 or 3 on the team, and then your other guys got hurt and you get to plug him in? Yeah.
Maybe Kellen Moore is there. Maybe it's different.
Sweaty Pete, you just missed the Bears. You'll have to go back after. We literally talked about the Bears 2 minutes before you got in here. We just got out of the NFC North.
But they signed a bunch of defensive guys, Carolina, and
Yep. I thought we were on the Saints.
Yeah, the Saints acquired Devon Godchow. They signed Jack
They
Stoll.
re-signed Chase Young to a 3-year deal, gave him a nice little $55 to $57 million deal, or 51 to 57.
And they got Justin Reed, which is huge
Yeah,
from the Chiefs.
Justin Reed, Cam Jordan's coming back for one more year.
I mean, they
15th
did what
season.
they could, I guess. It's a very weak. They didn't do as good as the Packers did, but they're pretty close.
Let me say that he didn't sign. Cam Jordan didn't sign. He revised his contract to make space for other players.
Yeah, because they need to do that because they're terrible at cap space.
Yes. We can move on to the Bucks.
Yeah, really only one of mention. I mean,
The
they
big
made a
thing
bunch
is Godwin.
yeah, that's it. They re-signed.
Want to know why?
Godwin.
Because he is the rod god.
He passed up $20 more million to go back to Tampa instead of coming to New England. So
Yeah, because he had a better chance to win in Tampa, sadly. When do you think you'd be able to say that? But it's the truth.
yeah, no, it is. But $20 million is a lot of money.
It is, unless he does well enough to get signed again in it. Because maybe Tampa has proven to be the team that'll keep signing their wide receiver big contracts over and over and over again. They did it with Mike Evans. Just keep going over and over and over and over.
He's got this contract left, and then he'll be at Mike Evans.
Yeah, but then, and Godwin knows that.
He'll be
and Godwin
31.
will get one more. What I'm trying to say is Godwin will get one more contract the year that Mike Evans could be signed. They'll sign Godwin to a year or 2 deal instead.
Yeah,
Well, another team would have probably dumped him.
This is definitely Mike Evans' last contract for sure. The one he just signed last season.
Mike Evans, though, he is amazing, isn't he?
Unbelievable.
Cream of the crop! The cream of the crop!
Yeah, baby. We have all those drops we downloaded. We haven't used any.
I know. That's why I went over here. I had to use at least one. Yep. But yeah, I mean, they got him there. They signed a very low deal for Sterling Shepard. That's just depth. That doesn't matter. $22 million three-year deal for a guard. Grabbed a couple guys on defense. I mean, we really don't have to get too much into it, but they're looking pretty good.
We can move on to the NFC West, our final division.
They got your boy.
Yeah. What? That's a what drop? We have a what drop available?
They
2 years, $12 million. What?
I'll tell you what. Who's that?
Stone Cold.
You already know exactly who it is. It's Jacoby.
Big brisket.
Here we go. Money talk.
Now, kid, listen, being a starting quarterback is the dream come true. It's what you really want to do. But guys, if you could somehow train your kids to just be good enough to be a backup quarterback, and they could just keep signing backup deals over and over, they're still going to make millions. I mean, he's going to get a 2-year, $12 million, $8 million guaranteed. So for 2 years of football, where he probably doesn't have to be the starter unless there's an injury, he's getting $8 million. That's $4 million a year to play football.
It's funny, they were talking about this on sports radio today. David Andrews made less money than Brian Hoyer did through his career.
Yeah. Brian Hoyer made a ton of money.
All pro center over a backup quarterback for life.
Yes. Look at
crazy.
AJ McCarron. Got paid so much money to just be a backup over and over and over again. Married a supermodel. I don't know if she's a supermodel, but she was a model.
She's hot. Yeah.
And just like lives a great life. Got the, a couple stints on like the XFL or the UFL or whatever. And it's like, you just live a great life. Shout out to that guy.
It seems like, I don't know, maybe I'm going crazy, but we did all these things. A lot of defensives went heavy in free agency.
Which is making me wonder,
players.
How heavy are they going to go on offense? Some of these teams in the early rounds. Are we going to see some defensive guys slip, and like we get some guys in the 3rd and 4th round who should have gone in the 2nd round or should have gone in the 1st round because they just slipped because everybody signed so many?
That could happen. Like, this is what I'm looking at on all these teams is a hell of a lot of defensive players signed.
I do like the linemen for the Cardinals.
Oh yeah, they work on that, and I feel like they're probably in the market for another one too.
Yep, signed a decent deal for Baron Browning. Josh Sweat got a nice 4-year deal.
Yeah, I wanted the Pats to be in on him. I know he's old, but
there are a couple other good signings, and I think we can move on to the Rams. I don't have the drop, but reunited and it feels so good. Jimmy G back to the Rams, 1-year deal. And you know what, dude? That's probably the best thing they could have done. He's like the only one that he's the only one who could do it, dude. McVay's gonna unlock it when Stafford goes down. No, in all seriousness, this is good for Jimmy G. It's a decent backup where it's a good backup, but it's not a backup that's going to threaten Stafford and make Stafford even have to think twice before he goes to sleep at night.
Yeah, but the real big deal is Adams. Like you replace Kupp with Adams, and that's a win.
Mm-hmm.
You made your team better. Like it looked like at first with the Stafford talk of getting rid of him that they were going to have a soft rebuild. They're going for it again.
And how about Tutu? Tutu, shout out to him. Is he going to be the odd man out? Is he going to be? Listen, these guys, we love Puka and we love Devontae Adams, but both guys can be a little injury prone at times. So there's going to be weeks. We're a dynasty show. We're not a redraft show right now. You got to remember, Tutu is going to be that guy who is going to be useful a couple weeks. And they just signed him to a 1-year, $10 million deal. Well, guess what that includes? Not what you think it would. It is a $5 million signing bonus and a $5 million fully guaranteed base. That means they signed him to a 1-year, $10 million fully guaranteed contract. So is it only a 1-year deal? Yes, but they're guaranteeing his whole entire contract. So... Yeah,
you gotta keep him on the radar.
Yeah, exactly. A couple other good line signings, a couple other good defensive signings. Nothing really fantasy worthy though.
Okay, you want to move on to San Fran?
I like this. Hold on a second before we move on. I can see Williams or Higgins or even Rispardo going to LA.
Oh yeah, they need a third, a more solid third for sure.
I agree. I kind of like Rispardo.
Oh, Restrepo?
Restrepo, yeah. I was just going along with what he put.
Okay, the Niners. Mac Jones. Yeah. Top tier backup right there.
Hey, he gets the guy he originally wanted when all those reports came out that he wanted Mac Jones instead of Trey Lance.
Finally gets his guy.
Is there a world where they don't pay Brock Purdy because Mac Jones is doing good enough in the offense that Kyle Shanahan goes up to the big boss and says, hey, like, I like Brock and everything, but like my system, well, dad system, the Shanahan system is the Shanahan system, and I can make this work with Mac Jones for much less money.
If Purdy plays hardball, yeah, I can definitely see that happening.
We won't get to see the practice. It's all going to depend. And Purdy, as much as we like him, has been injury prone. So all he's got to do is go down for a couple weeks, and Mac Jones comes in, and he was pretty good on the Jaguars, no matter what anybody wanted to say. You know.
Yep.
I actually won a championship with him in a Wicked Deep League.
They brought back Juszczyk, they brought back Patrick Taylor, and they stole from the Rams Demarcus Robinson.
They did. For context, really quick, so people are like, don't think that my starting quarterback was Mac Jones. I had a league where I had Anthony Richardson, Dak Prescott, and Danny Jones. Danny Dimes lost his job. Dak got hurt. Off and on, Anthony Richardson is either hurt or not playable. So I won a championship with Mac Jones, my QB4. Just had to make sure everybody knew I wasn't rocking around with, oh, does Ayuk get traded? I like that question.
Yes.
There's a chance. They signed him to a lot of money and immediately got hurt. They're not going to like that.
Yep. Nope.
We're definitely going to know if they draft a wide receiver or two.
Absolutely.
And they already have Pearsall as well.
They got pretty Ricky, yeah.
Yes. But yeah, we'll
go on to the final team.
Go on to the final. Well, do we miss anybody here?
No, not really.
No, we did miss one. Demarcus Robinson. He could be sneaky on that team. He was good on the Rams.
We didn't miss. I mentioned him.
Oh, I didn't hear you. That was my bad. Oh, he was probably when I was reading the comments from Matt and posting them. That's probably who you mentioned. My bad.
So
all right,
Demarcus Robinson, he could be big. I like him.
We'll move on to Seattle.
The big one. We can mention the big deal.
Yep, it's going to be Sam Darnold getting a 3-year, $100.5 million, $55 million guaranteed. 37.5. I mean, they gave him a big boy contract. They believe in him. They saw something they liked. They traded for, they signed Cooper Kupp after, not traded. They signed Cooper Kupp to a 3-year, $45 million deal. Kupp's still going to get paid big money. A lot of people don't like what happened to him last year, but there's a lot of factors to that. You're coming back from injury. There's a difference between coming back from injury. There's a difference between return to play and return to performance. That's always what you're going to hear people like Stephania Bell and a couple other people say. And you got to give them credit because they come up with those terms. It's very important to remember that. Even if your player's coming back and you play them, you love fantasy. I love fantasy. You love fantasy. You got to remember, no matter what, these are human beings. And if they are hurt coming back from an injury, they're pushing, but not everybody's going to be able to play through an injury. So sometimes there's going to be return to play, return to performance. When are they actually ready to go? Are they ready to play and run some routes and give a little bit of attention? Or are they ready to actually play and get the real targets? Because Julio Jones was famous for that. They knew if they put him in a game and he ran some routes, he would get chased around a lot, and he'd get like 1 or 2 targets the entire game because he was hurt. So just keep in mind that. I was talking about Cooper Kupp and how they signed him to a big boy deal. They paid him a lot of money. So because they paid him a lot of money, I do expect that they expect a lot from him, and that they think that part of him not doing well was the fact that he was coming back. He didn't have return to performance. And he also had to compete with Puka, who's taking over the team. And Stafford is very much a spam it to one guy kind of guy.
He is. It was like that with Calvin Johnson, too. So.
And Marvin Jones a little bit.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, that was a good run through. I mean, this free agency class really has me wondering about that draft. And what these teams are going to do.
There's a good point, too. Couple be playing outside. He won't be playing in the dome.
It's true. It's true. So it might be a little, but
We'll have to see. But either way,
I feel like he could do what DK does, but a little on a slower type level, but more elite route running ability.
I think he'll do what DK did on the inside. He just won't do the big plays that DK did.
Yeah,
Not that he
won't
did a
do that
ton.
over the top stuff, but he'll run that middle, and they'll use JSN just like they did in college and throw him the deep stuff.
Yeah, they still have JSN, and dude, let's not be surprised if they don't draft another wide receiver in like the mid to late rounds.
Oh, absolutely.
But they did sign MVS, but I believe MVS is more of a hey, every once in a while he's gonna catch a bomb for you. But they do have a little bit of they do have some depth. They have guys like Jake Bobo and no love for Bobo.
Yeah, and I was shaking my head. No love for Bobo.
I didn't even see that. They have guys that are decent. I don't put my faith in Bobo, but is he worth a bench stash? Of course, especially if you're in a deep league.
Yeah, absolutely.
That being said, is Bobo good enough for them to not draft a wide receiver? No.
No.
They signed DeMarcus Lawrence. I do find it weird that DeMarcus Lawrence said he wanted to leave the Cowboys because he's never going to win a championship with the Cowboys. And then his response is to go to Seattle with Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey man, if he said that and he went to like the Chiefs or the Eagles or like some team, I know the Eagles didn't need him, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no. I agree with him about him not winning a championship at the Cowboys. But I'm trying to say is if he went to one of the favorites to make it every year, the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Bills, any of those I'm okay with. Then it would make sense.
Even
but
like
to go
Cincinnati
to Seattle
or
and be
something.
like, yo, dude, I came here because I wanted to make sure that I could win a title. It's like, no, you didn't. They offered you the most money that you were going to get paid at this age. 100%. He's not old, but he's old enough where what did he get paid? He got paid 18 guaranteed, but worth up to 42. So it's probably very performance based. I bet every single year is loaded. If it's that much if it's only 18 guaranteed, I bet a huge chunk of it's front loaded, and I bet a huge chunk of it is like, oh, if you get a lot of sacks, or if you get a lot of tackles, or if we make it to this game, stuff like that.
Yeah. Did we talk about Higgins and Chase?
No, we didn't get a chance to. I was going to suggest right now. It's funny you mentioned that because once we got to the last team, which we're on, I was going to suggest going back to the AFC just to mention that and a couple other things that may have happened since we talked about it.
But yeah, I mean,
we'll talk about Madden mode.
Oh well, yeah, that's for real because I wasn't expecting.
I saw
big a deal for Higgins there.
I saw. Let me see if I can find it. If you want to,
I'm pretty sure it's a little more money than what's his face got. Devonta Smith. Didn't he get like 100?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, he got Is that including his franchise tag, or is that added? The franchise tag is added to what he.
No, the franchise tag doesn't matter because he signed that new deal.
Okay, I wasn't 100% sure how that worked. If he got to keep the franchise tag and his
all
new
the
deal,
tag is gives you that extra year to negotiate.
No, I understand that. I didn't know if like once you sign the franchise, any deal after that, the franchise is included.
Oh yeah.
Or if you got the franchise deal no matter what, and then the new deal is just the new deal.
No, the new deal is the new deal. You get the franchise if you only play on the tag.
That makes sense. I wasn't 100% sure how that went.
Which I'm pretty sure he's getting close to that anyway. So whatever the tag was. So it was pretty much a wash anyway. You might have lost a few million
really quick.
Yeah, it was 26 on the tag. Yeah, so he's making out. Yeah, but yeah, he's with Burrow, and if he would have been on the Pats, most likely because they would have gave him the bag.
I can't find it to screen share it. I'll just read it off my phone. I was hoping to find it. It was Some famous guy. I forgot who it was because I don't have it in front of me, but he's verified. And I know he's a famous NFL voice. He said it was like when you're a kid playing Madden franchise mode and you don't know how to build a team, but you want to keep all your stars, so you pay your top 2 wide receivers and your quarterback most of your salary.
Yeah,
And
it's like Matt said right here, 44 your cap, your 44% of your cap on 3 players is so stupid.
yeah, and I gotta agree because I agree with the statement that I just said about the guy saying how it's just like it's like a 13-year-old playing Madden and just signing 3 players because he's like, I can't lose these guys, and then just having to lose the entire rest of the team. It just, yeah.
Well, I mean, I think basically it was like Burrow, like, listen, I'm not going to stay after my contract
unless you get those guys.
These guys here with me. Yeah, no way.
Well, they were getting chased no matter what, but what I think what the Bengals didn't expect was that Higgins and Burrow were really, really good friends too, and that he wanted them as well, and him as well, and that he insisted on taking him as well because they got drafted the same year and they bonded really, really well. I guess they're like friends outside, like all 3 of them are friends outside of football. It's not just like how sometimes you get a quarterback who's like likes the wide receiver, but they don't actually hang out. Those guys actually hang out at games on the off season and go to like different sports and stuff like that. I've seen that UFC together, all 3 of them together.
Yeah, 144 million on 3 players, 7 or 9 wins, but they were also in the Super Bowl a few years ago. Everybody keeps forgetting that. Like, they did it. They beat the Chiefs.
But they've also lost pieces that were in that Super Bowl team.
Yeah, but they're also talking about re-signing Hendrickson too. So
yeah, which is going to be more of their money.
Right, but people are going to want to come play with Joe Burrow.
Oh, sure, but that's
not
only
even on offense, on defense too.
To pay people.
No, you're just gonna have to get cheap guys that want to play with Joe. Like, it's like the Tom Brady effect.
I think the Bengals are hoping and praying that they can wait out this. The rumor about them wanting to do a separate cap for just quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I feel like Cincinnati is just like biding their time, praying that passes. Just being like, please, let's just keep front loading it, and then if we pay Burrow a bunch, and then it gets shifted to a QB only cap, then we'll get a bunch of space freed up. And you never know. Look what the Rams did.
It's just the name. Like, it's seriously just the name. Like, people, kids and rookies and younger free agents, they're gonna want to play on Joe Burrow's team.
We're also not taking into account. Look what the Saints have done. Look what the Rams have done. There are ways that we don't know about. Well, some of us know about them, but like a lot of us don't know about it. There's ways where they can do things where they front load contracts. The owner has to actually pay that money to the player, but the franchise gets to move on and they'll eventually reimburse the owner, but it takes a ballsy owner to trust that they're going to get reimbursed that. But there are ways. The Rams did it. The Saints did it. There are ways to keep kicking that can down the road and restructuring contracts, but it starts to bump Uggs.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's so true. Well, take all that money. You're not going to build them a new stadium and start investing in front loading that money so you can actually have a team, because it's going to be worse than 7-9 if they don't have a line and they don't over the next 2-3 years when they start losing linemen and defensive guys and they just have Chase Burrow and it'll be Chase Burrow, Higgins, and Gesicki, because Gesicki got signed to a deal too.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, at least they have a 50-50 lineman. You can play lineman sometimes.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my goodness.
They signed BJ Hill. They re-signed him, didn't they?
Yes.
Too. So.
Yeah. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I mean, this season did go by. I will say this season did go by a little faster than it should have. And it was also one of those things where there was more injuries than I've ever remembered. And I've said that before, but this year was worse. There's more major big name injuries that altered fantasy and more big busts in fantasy than I can remember.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was a bad year.
Yeah.
Bad year for high draft picks. Bad year just for injuries in general.
Yeah. Even guys like Tyreek.
Yeah, like that killed my season.
Yeah.
Him having that wrist injury all year killed me.
Yeah. No, it's true. And there was so many big names that went down. There was so many quarterbacks who went down that made big names irrelevant. I mean, there were a couple guys who pulled ahead, guys like Jefferson, where no matter who he has, he's just the man. But then there's guys some guys can't recover. Larry Fitzgerald is one of the greatest of all time in wide receiver, and he had bad seasons where he had bad quarterbacks and he just completely disappeared. Yeah. So, yeah, Laporta and Waddle had bad years. I expect them to bounce back. There's a couple. We'll definitely have a bounce back
episode. That sounds like a good idea.
We'll do a bounce back episode. For those listening, we're definitely going to do a mock draft soon. We've already been talking about it. There was a chance if we didn't have to do a second part tonight, then tonight might have been some kind of mock, whether it was with fans or whether it was just me and him. There's a good chance it would have been a mock. We had to finish up the other half.
I was messing around today with the mock draft websites, and I found one where you can invite 32 owners and draft the whole thing.
So let's do that.
All right. I'll try and get the link set up. I'll send it out to all the leagues and whatever. But I want to make sure that, that's what we do.
Let's do it. We'll try our hardest to get 35 people. 32 will get 30 of them will get the spot, and 5 of them will be alternates. And they'll wait, just in case somebody doesn't show up last minute, we have 5 alternates to pick from. Boom. But I'm down to do that, and we'll, in the future, we're going to be doing especially once this actual NFL draft happens, we are going to be mocking like crazy. We're going to do a couple before the draft. We always like to do a couple, but once the teams are set, we're going to do a lot more this year. We had a lot of fun doing it last year. You guys told us you had a lot of fun, so we're really going to do more mocks. I know they're one of Pitt's favorite things to do.
Oh, it is. It's definitely one of my favorite
things
to do, especially rookie mocks, man. Like, yes.
Yeah. And I always think it's interesting to do. Last year we wanted to do it. We just didn't get a chance. This year we will do it before the draft, and then I'll take clips. Because now there's a StreamYard that we go through. Shout out StreamYard. Actually has a thing now that shortcuts cutting clips. So now that we can do that, and it makes it that much easier for me to do, I can get little clips of who we picked at certain picks. And then I can be like, oh, we thought this guy was going to go there. Here, now he's at a crappy team. Now he's getting drafted in the 3rd round because, there's 2 running. If somebody gets drafted to the Bucks, and you have Rashad White and Bucky Irvin and Sean Tucker all in front of you, it's like, you're probably going to beat Sean Tucker, but like, you know what I mean? It's still so muddy. Do you really want to go in those waters?
Gross.
But if you go to the Giants, and all you got to beat is Tracy, who had a good year, but he's still beatable.
Yeah.
So,
in my home league, Matt, I have the 103, the 106, 7, and 8. Oh no, 5, 6, 7. So I'm sitting pretty in that one, but I blew that team up way too much. It's going to be a couple year build for sure. But
absolutely. And you know what that sound is.
It's time to go. I love
how it is. We're just winding down. This is the part where we tell you to go to Twitter. We barely do anything on Twitter. This is the part where we tell you to go to Instagram. We haven't really done anything on Instagram or TikTok. But that is all about to change. Now that the clips are this easy to edit, we will be able to do that. And I'm about to go kick up into my overtime season to pull away the curtain. So once that happens, I can get Twitter blue. I can get once I have that, we'll be able to do full episodes on Twitter. That'll hopefully let the podcast grow more because we'll get a whole nother audience. And once I'm on Twitter Blue, I'll be posting on Twitter more. I'll be doing stuff on Instagram more. Right now, it's mostly just been both of us were a little bit busy, but we're also making sure we can get time together once the season starts getting closer. We're going to be on a regular time schedule. It won't be every because right now it's like we podcasted 4 days ago. Then before that, it was like 2 weeks. Before that, it was like 6 days. Before that, it was like 4 days. It's like we're right now we're just kind of trying to get you guys some content. We don't want to leave you guys hanging. But
this is like prime content season for me. Like I love this. Rookies.
Perfect. Well, there was like that month period after the Super Bowl where there's not really a lot of football news. Everything's winding down. Second free agency hits as soon as everybody starts talking about the draft. There's the draft shows, everything else. It's time. It's time.
All right. That being said.
Oh, I agree with this. Before we go, this year having a high pick in a rookie draft isn't worth it. How do you feel about this?
I agree.
Other than Jonty, obviously.
I mean, that's what I mean. If you have a 101, I don't know. I like the top three, and then the middle kind of
So I was going to say
half like it.
So even 4 to 8, or 4 to 7, that's still 4, 5, 6, 7. That's still 4 picks that are kind of meh, where you can kind of pick whoever, and the ones that gets to you.
But that's what I mean, because that's what it's gonna. The tough decisions are there in those middle picks, which is going to force people to make the wrong decision. And
look at Brian Thomas.
I was just going to say, like
we were going to say that's so funny. I didn't mean to step on you. I was legitimately just going to say that.
Hilarious. Yeah. No, I was just thinking the same thing, like a Brian Thomas.
I got him in a bunch, but I wish I got him in more. Don't you?
Yeah, like that Brian Thomas, Ladd McConkey, Keon Coleman. Like, who are you going to take? And then, Keon Coleman was not the right guy.
And everybody thought, on paper, it seemed like, Josh Allen could really find this guy. And then now it's like, oh, man, if you could have just taken Brian Thomas in every single rookie draft, you'd be happy. Every single one.
Oh, you're going to Vegas in 3 weeks for WrestleMania? He's hammering the Pats plus 6 wins at 27 to 1. Nice.
He's at Am I?
Yeah, you are. Hell yeah, over 6 wins.
How much you betting?
He's probably going to bet a couple hundred, I would say.
How much are you going to bet? If you're betting 100, it's worth it. That's like 5 big boy trips to Taco Bell. When I say big boy, I don't mean just a lot of food. I mean like you're ordering like cheesy gordita crunches, crunch wraps, chalupas. You're ordering the good stuff. You're not going, I want 3 tough tacos. Please charge me $12 for 3 tacos. No, dude. No, I'm getting big hefty things. Hey, this is the end of the podcast. We doing what we do, brother. You need to put some headphones in. This is 2025, baby. You got wireless ones. You got ones you can plug in. You got ones you can put in your ears, on your ears.
Doesn't want us talking about him betting. Oh, that's nice. I'm not going to say that number, but that's nice. I'm not saying it.
Oh. Well, I'm glad you're not doing that. I support your decision not to do that because you're not doing it. But yeah, no, WrestleMania will be cool.
Absolutely. I think he's been doing it every year for like a couple of years.
That's cool. Giants fan, my cousin, who we play a lot of leagues with, he's really into wrestling still. I watched it when I was a kid with him, and I'm not going to lie, I just started watching more of the pay-per-views and Netflix and stuff now that it's more readily available to me. But I'm still into UFC. But yeah, anything else, Biff?
I'm done.
Yeah, I know you're yawning. All right, guys. Well, until next time, make sure you like. If you share, we appreciate it. But guys, even if you just like and comment, sharing's awesome. But liking and comment at the very least. I feel like some guys are seeing
not
us ask to share
in the live chat. Comment in like the comments.
Yeah, but we appreciate the live chat. We want you to be here. But like after it ends, comment at least one comment because it doesn't count any of your comments toward the algorithm in the live chat. So we're just we're trying to get grow a little bit. But
Who
until
knows?
next time,
Who
guys.
knows what'll happen? You may see us somewhere else someday.
Never know. But until next time.
Until next time, gentlemen, ladies, fantasy degens.
Keep
This is the 5-Star
playing
Dynasty podcast.
Dynasty,
Keep
baby.
playing Dynasty.
Are you guys playing Dynasty?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah!
Absolutely. And until next time, guys, we got a 5-Star Dynasty podcast. This is the Lord of the Rings edition. We're ending 5 times.
Yeah.
And we are out. Bye, guys.